Lenny to come in and give his presentation that he gave to the ACCOA board, and then we can ask some questions afterwards. That's okay.
What was the question about? The report?
Quarterly report.
Quarterly report. Okay, so hopefully this presentation will clear all that up for you guys. All right. So we're gonna go in line for all of this stuff. So follow me on this amazing journey of understanding ACCOA. The 501c3 nonprofit, that is us, and our contractor relationship with the county. So, first thing first, I apologize for doing this presentation from my seat. This is what we have technology so you guys can see. Some people are visual learners, some people are auditory, so we try to accommodate for everybody. So like I said, we're a 501c3 nonprofit, and we have a contractual relationship with the county to provide services that are stemming from what's called ASA, that's Aging and Adult Services, and that's a branch of the Department of Health and Human Services. So to kind of get a good understanding of who we are, we have to understand our mission and vision statement. Our mission statement is to promote independence, well-being, and dignity to the aging population of Alcona County by coordinating and initiating programs that meet the needs of our community and their families. Our vision statement is to serve our community by anticipating and meeting the ever-changing needs and desires of our community and their families. Our goals have and will continue to be for the betterment of this community and their families. Okay, everything we do, every penny that we spend is towards those goals. So what is a 501c3 nonprofit? Let's explain that. 501c3 nonprofit is a portion of the United States Internal Revenue Code that allows for federal tax exemption of nonprofit organizations. It's a tax bracket, not a lifestyle. Okay, so just because it says nonprofit doesn't mean that we don't try to make profit. Okay, one of the most distinct provisions unique to the 501c3 organizations are compared with the other tax exempt entities in the taxable deductibles of donation. So people who give donations or give money to our agencies can request a taxable form so they can deduct that from their form. Okay, everybody understand? So again, I'm gonna reiterate this. 501c3 is a tax code, not a lifestyle. Okay, so our goal, albeit is to be a 501c3 nonprofit, is also to bring in some type of profit. Okay, so that we keep the lights on, so that we can continue to pay people. Okay. So our funding sources. So let me explain what our funding sources. So we have two different types of funding sources that come into our building. We have what's called restricted funds. So I'll explain what restricted funds are. Restricted funds can only be used for the designated purpose of the funder. So let's say, for example, I get a grant from the USDA, so that's the United States Department of Agriculture, for $50,000. It says you can only use this grant for technology. I can't buy clothes. I can't buy shoes. I have to use the grant money for what it's used for. Everyone understand that? So that's restricted funds. So restricted funds are either temporary or permanent in nature. So that means I can get a grant every year that gives me $50,000 for technology. I can only use those funds for what? Technology. Everybody say it with us. We're in church today. Come on. All right. So whatever type of restricted fund is set up, we keep track and report it appropriately in its financial statement. So we have tons of federal, state, and local grantors that all audit us all the time. This year alone, I would have gone through 4 audits. Okay, so anybody who gives us money can audit what's going on. Okay, so number 2, you see the statements. Okay, again, when you come to our meetings, the way that you have designed this, it's in the contract. We're supposed to give you quarterly reports. However, when you come to our meetings, you get these reports monthly. You see in the reports, when you are there, you see every dime that we spend, because it is given to you a week before to review and to submit questions. And if you have any questions, we address it at the meeting. But those documents are given to your current representative to then give a report based on what they see. Okay, so that's the way it has been set up. Number 2, Let's talk about unrestricted funds. That's the funds that we like, because that means these funds can be used for any purpose. Okay, let me say that again. Unrestricted funds can be used for any purpose. So guys, don't think I'm trying to be belittling or condescending. I'm not. I want you guys to really understand how it is that we do business here. Okay, funds with no restrictions imposed on them by entities, grantors, vendors, or contractors. That means we can use it for any purpose and how we see fit. Okay, so those are our two funding sources: restricted and unrestricted funds. So let's talk about the ACCOA millage. So this is the verbiage that was approved by this county by 75% of the vote. And it says, for the purposes of providing funding to the Alcona County Commission on Aging to improve the quality of living for our seniors, provide education, safety, dignity, independence, home service, operate, maintain, and expand programs and services, and maintain the Alcona Senior Center to Alcona County residents age 60 or older, quote, seniors. And it goes into a bunch of legal information, and it gives you the mills rate of 0.825 per $1,000, which gives the total estimated value of what the millage comes out to be about $640,747.51 annually. That is the language that was on the ballot, and it was approved by the community. So let's go over some of the highlights of some of the things of what it says, bullet by bullet, because there has been some questions about what we can use the millage for. So I want to go by bullet. Number one, improving the quality of living. We'll let that breathe. Number two, provide education. Number three, provide safety, dignity, independence, home service, operate, maintain, and expand programs and services, and maintain the Alcona Senior Center. That's the language in the millage. So let's talk to the budget. Now, I did redact that because it has some sensitive information that was in the slideshow, but I did not know I would be presenting on Zoom. So right in front of you is our budget sheet. And on that budget sheet, there is a red line at the bottom of that budget sheet. At the red line at the bottom of that budget sheet shows you what the millage is allocated to and how much of that millage is allocated. At the top, you'll see how much of expenses. You'll see that the expenses for the ACCOA this fiscal is $830,000, of which millage is allocated of about $500,000. Does your millage cover our expenses? No, it does not. So then we see the programs now, which we're okay with that, because this is what you contracted us for. You contracted us to take care of the services that ASA has asked us to do, which is take care of the seniors, which is the reason why anyone who can ask for services for us, and we never have to require a payment. Most times we don't. Most times, if people contribute, that's because they have the means to, but we do not deny them because they cannot pay. So all of the programs that you see right there operate at a loss to us, to you, to the county. But it's all for the betterment of our community. Everybody got that so far? So in order for us to keep the lights on, we have to expand our programs. So again, highlighting what operational expenses are. All the contractual programs, as I stated, does not generate enough income to cover the expenses. Therefore, the millage used to cover those additional expenses, which you see in the report in red, is how the millage is allocated for each program. So we take those millage dollars and then we allocate. Now, we do keep some in reserve because, like, for example, our freezer unit went out. That's something that we didn't plan for. That's a $15,000 fix. So we allocate those funds in reserve to then cover for these other programs, okay? But it's not a very large margin. It's about $120,000. It's not a large margin, okay? So So all the programs that are from ASA, which is Aging and Adult Services, that are a division of DHS, this is what the revenue comes in from millage. On the right, this is what the actual operational expenses. So how do we cover that? We cover that by new services and contracts. Again, 501c3 is a tax bracket, not a lifestyle. So ideally, I expand our programs to things like Medicaid and Medicare, so then I can bring in additional revenue. There are other programs that are not part of what you see here in the budget because those are not millage supported. Those programs are supported by other revenue streams. So those other revenue streams brings money into our general fund, which are considered unrestricted funds. Everybody got that? So these unrestricted dollars are dollars that we made because we're a private company. Okay? And that we're going to continue. Our hope and my goal, because I can tell you before I started, it was very much millage heavy. We depended on the millage. As you can see, in less than 2 years, we have brought in $300,000 worth of revenue. Right? Because our expenses are more than what we're bringing in. Well, actually 400,000 because it was 490,000. So our expenses are more than our revenue, which means that we're making what? A higher margin. So it's the goal of the ACCOA, me and the vision of the board is to continue to bring in more revenue so we don't have to tax the community more than what's necessary. Maybe even lessen the liability because we are bringing in more money. I look at it this way. If the millage is the stream and Medicaid is the Great Lakes, I want to go play in the Great Lakes. Right? Because that makes the income liability of the community less and expands more than what I can do. Because if I'm handcuffed on restricted dollars of what I can do versus I have an entire amount, I can buy more vehicles, I can provide transportation, I can do that as at cost instead of having to make margin on transportation for our people in our community. Those are additional services that I can provide through these new contracts. Okay, so that was my dog and pony show. Any questions from the commission? Carry on.
Lenny, help me understand this, please. I know that you didn't get quite all that you anticipated, but we're talking like a couple $1,000. Almost zero. Am I correct that in theory, you would have gotten approximately $779,000 through the millage in 21?
No. Remember, the millage is only allocated in what was allocated in here. Here you go. So in 2021, we will get $640,747.51.
Okay, but it is showing budgeted at 186,740 for one of them and 593,600 for the other. Now, as I said, you did not get quite all of that because quite frankly, you do not. But actually, if I go over the figures as to what you did get, 13. Money, can you get a copy of that spreadsheet or stuff? Thank you.
I'll come see you later today.
I am showing that revenues received on the two millages only
Okay.
of $771,535. Are you saying that's incorrect?
That was for 2020. So 2021, this is fiscal
I'm
2020.
reading 2021.
Yes, so the
Right,
way the
okay, the way-
taxes are paid out on the millages that we collect starting in December, everything that's collected in December is held
Okay.
till the 31st and transferred over to the funds in
Is it-
2021.
Right.
Those are 2020 values
Okay,
Right.
for
so
the collection, which they will still be getting
And
portions.
that's going to be relatively consistent to the next 2 years. I mean, we have not had a major increase in revenue from taxes.
It's whatever, whatever the millage is set for 5 years. There is no change in that. I'm not understanding your question, but it's not going to vary because the variable rate is based on the taxable value. So if
And the
it's two,
taxable value varies,
right, so
not a
it's,
lot, but it does vary.
right, but that doesn't vary, that varies based on the rate of mills. So the rate of mill is at 0.825. That doesn't change
Point
because,
eight two five on $1,000 is gonna be different than 0.825 on $1,100.
okay, but I mean, I don't understand, well, what is your question?
Okay, going back to where I was going originally. It appears. And if you'll give me the benefit of allowing 20 taxes to be listed as 21, if you will, that you would have anticipated of receiving $782,936.
Mhm.
Okay. Please show me, I would have thought that when I went across the millage, that total would have been close to the total of the millage of the 771,000.
So you're saying the value at the bottom should be the value at the top. That's what you're,
No.
okay, so then what, I'm not following what you're
Am
asking.
am I reading this wrong?
I do believe, like, all of the here
That's
down
why
here,
I'm asking
all of this
for
right
the
here, all of this in red is the millage allocation. And
Which is
all of these,
495.
all of these,
I'm
right,
worried
right,
about them. I'm worried about not worried about, I'm trying to understand your revenue stream.
right,
And it appears that it was $495,000 from the millage.
from the millage, and I would allocate it, as I was trying to explain to you, each one of
I
these,
get that, I'm looking only at the total right now of revenue from the millage.
okay, so that was allocated from the millage, yes. Okay,
It troubles me then that I go to this and I see really different figures by 200,000.
what are you seeing, wait, what's different figures from 200,000?
Well, if I may digress slightly, let me ask my treasurer, what am I not understanding when I add the two, because there's two millages right now, or they're in 21. And when that totals, and I know it's a year behind, but a year doesn't make a lot of difference. When I total the 184 and the 586, I get 771,535.
From 2019, right, and then that you would have received a budget allocation from 2019. This is the newest budget allocation based off of the one millage that we have on the books, which is 825. We don't have two millages on the book.
Where are the reports that we have based on the two millages?
You would have received that back in 2019 when I first started and handed you the budget report back in 2019. So we're talking a new fiscal year, which is this
Let's
year.
go down that path that you're on. You're saying that the millage is going to be pretty similar to what it was.
What, no, because the millage is different because there was a different millage that was passed by the voters on the ballot. So, and that raised the current amount from 0.25 and then 0.625, I believe it was the original or something like that. And then that got combined to 0.825. So then it would just go concurrent for the next 5 years. So that would be a different millage, because again, when I came to this body, they said it would have to be a new millage and not a millage renewal, right?
So,
And that's what that's what the language was, and that was approved because it had to be a new millage, not a millage renewal.
so am I correct in assuming then that your 495 equates to your point? What'd you say? What is your millage rate, please? 0.8?
0.825.
Okay, that's what I thought you said. So 0.825 equates, 0.825 millage equates to $495.
No, it equates to what I just showed you, $640,747.51.
Then why, then
Where is it? 600 and some showing up?
you're
on
showing a total of 400,000.
I'm showing what this is a budget allocation sheet, as I just said, that this is allocated to the programs. I also said that I keep a portion in reserve for incidentals that needs to support the program. I cannot give you a penny to penny.
I don't want a penny to penny,
But
right?
Ms. Brumman, I am telling you, I'm explaining to you, this is an allocation. This is what the program is allocating. This is what I can anticipate of what the cost of each program, each individual thing that you say you don't care about, But let's go through, each individual is a silo or a program that I say, okay, I'm going to allocate $38,000 to kinship, which is taking care of seniors who have kids under the age of 18. I am allocating $38,000 of millage money and I'm putting to that program, which then differs from the $26,000 that might be for, home delivered meals, which is not, it's like, but it differs from each individual program. And then those total allocations equals $495,000. However, if there is some shortfalls and some increases, I then move additional millage dollars to cover those expenses.
In my eyes, this misrepresents your millage.
How does that misrepresent our millage?
Because I agree, okay, let me back up, way back up, because I should have said this when we first started. Lenny, I think you have done an absolutely amazing job for our seniors. I've told you this a number of times. You have brought to this county and to our seniors. It's emotional to me. I really, I cannot tell you how fabulously I think you have done. But having said that, I fully agree that you need to keep money in reserve. If you need to keep tax dollars, millage dollars in reserve for freezers or vehicles or whatever, I don't have a problem with that. But I think you need to show it. There's nothing wrong with actually, it's wise to keep some money in reserve.
Mhm.
I believe it is. I'm sure I can get people to say no, spend every penny, but that's just not logic. That's not proven.
Okay, so then here's what I can do for you, Ms. Palmer.
I want you to do it for me.
No, because this is, like I said, this is an allocation for programs. So what I'll do is I'll add a tertiary line that says what is,
Reserve.
that will say what the remaining balance of the $680,000 or $640,741 and deduct that amount, and I'll put it at the bottom down here. So then you will see this is what is not allocated from the millage dispatch this year.
And
Would that be,
it works out about 145,000.
but would that be the satisfaction of? the
But it
commission?
is allocated because it's allocated for unexpected happens.
Well, it would be allocated in general fund, but yes, that would be fine.
It's like a contingency line item.
Right, so
Yes.
I will
That's the
add,
word I would have used, Dan.
Yeah.
Big contingency.
Yeah, contingency line item.
What it does is it allows you to run through the budget and you see this one page here where the millage will bring in 640,000.
but then again, you also are assuming that I get all of that.
Sure.
Which
I
I
am,
don't,
you're right.
which I don't.
I know, but I am assuming that.
So I get shortfalls that I have to track her down and say, hey, I have shortfalls, and then I have to cover again from other sources until I'm made whole at the end of the fiscal year, because I get 2 disbursements. And you don't make me whole all at once.
That's true.
So again, so this is why I just kind of.
But then again, your projection of your red line going across, which was the 495,000 versus the 600, there's a difference. Even though you don't have all that funds of about 145,000, that would become your reserve for that particular year. And which is fine. I mean, that's all we're saying is we're doing the math now. If we had a line that said that, or a contingent, in our case, it's the fund balance that falls and everything sort of falls out of the sky and goes into that.
That's why it takes nothing for me to add a secondary line at the bottom that shows where the remaining balance of it is. But like I said, this is what was requested of in the contract, is to show where the allocation of the funding is allocated to.
And quarterly, let us know the status of how that's moving forward.
Well, we do it monthly. We do it monthly for you, so that, I mean, he does, if that's the case, and he doesn't have to show up to our meetings, then we just come in and do the exact same thing. But he gets a book of what we do, and then that report that he takes notes and then gives it to you guys. So you get this monthly.
I do not recall him bringing in a sheet.
Not like that. And I just started getting the emails since you changed secretaries around over there, and they started receiving those, which is a monthly, or a week, yeah, monthly report.
Okay.
Like
so
everybody who
that's
comes, all the people who sit for our board meetings get a binder. And it has all of our allocations.
good. And
of
he
what
can bring that binder back to let us peruse. Is that a true statement?
he can make copies of that and he can prepare a report. But those are internal documents. So he's your representative. So he can take notes, make copies of things that are not considered sensitive, that have clients' names on it, and then we can give
Oh,
that.
no, of
So
course,
then,
of course we don't
so,
want that.
but if that's something that, like I said, but he's your representative. He sits on our board, so then he can then report back to you of how the millage is being spent.
Generally speaking, when a contract says that you will send to the board, and I don't mean you per se, but when an entity is obligated to send a report to the board, it is to the board chair. Even though you've got a liaison going. Because
Okay.
liaisons don't always go. Bill is very dedicated. But liaisons are always, or they can't always, go. They got a conflict or something.
Well, that is not explained in the contract. And this is, all I'm doing is repeating the process that you guys have set up with ACCOA from its inception in 1967, and when you guys picked it up with the county and doing the programs. All we're doing is just continuing that relationship. But if you want, I can do the quarterly reports, and I can send it to Adam, just like he asked for this. And I sent that to him, I believe in the same day, within that same hour of this report. You know, again, we go through a lot of digits, there's 7, 8 zeros of what we do. And if you don't understand our budget, I've offered you several times to come sit with us, our team, our auditors, so we can explain how our revenue flows. And we, like I said, we said that we were trying to do this so we can understand. I want you to understand, we want a healthy relationship, but also understand that we're a private entity whose goal is to try to also make some money for us, thus helping the community as well.
We have an obligation too, to make sure that that money, and again, you're doing a great job, Lenny. This is not, but if we were to have someone who is not doing it properly, and the entity came to us, and said, hey, I can do it a lot better, we can switch.
No, because you have a contract with us. I mean, if you wanted to annul our contract after the end of the time, yeah, absolutely. However, the millage would still be on the hook because,
Oh, absolutely.
so then you wouldn't be getting the services. I'm just saying that we're not trying, like I said, we're not trying to be cantankerous, and I think this is going that direction. But I will digress. I will say this. We're here to serve you. We're here to serve the public. We're here to serve the seniors and everybody else in their families. And we're going to continue to do so. As long as my butt's in the chair, that's what I'm going to do.
You are doing it right.
You're doing great.
Any other
To
questions?
all of you, when he said, and seniors.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Whatever makes me a part of the
Always,
board, I wanna
hey,
be reminded.
I started growing out this man beard. I saw some gray in there too.
Don't even get it started.
Thank you, Lenny. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
But today was to come in because there was some questions and you did a great job presenting everything out, and everybody's
Yeah.
smarter for it, and we really appreciate you doing this.
No worries.
Works out good,
Great.
and we're, I think clarification has been achieved, so.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
No problem.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to add under new business the medical examiner.
Yes. Yep.
That's a good.
All right.
I don't like that.
Okay, unfinished business 2021-22 non-general fund budgets. We need to have another workshop to get those wrapped up. With everybody's future looking like here. Or as next week goes. Well, can I just drop it here right now and then everybody can email me when you're
Yeah.
available? We'll set it up then. We got about 4 that need really close scrutiny.
Why don't you give us in your email, why don't you give us 2 or 3 dates?
Yeah, I can do that.
And then we
Whatever
can,
works for you on that part.
yeah,
Okey dokey.
you're the business one. You're the most important.
Oh, come on now. Do not make those things.
You're the youngest.
What was
There
sent
you
in your
go.
packet?
Only by 20 years.
20 years. What was sent in your package isn't a full culmination of what was sent in your email was not all the budgets. It was only a part of them.
This is the
Just a portion of them. The non-junk, there's only, a few. There's 51 pages of budgets,
Okay,
that are,
okay.
every single one has been reviewed by finance. But there are some that need to be reviewed by the board.
Yep. For sure.
And the majority of them are filled out either with the board information or the department requested. There's only a few that are lacking. And they're all in there, in the general ledger, in the computer. Department requested, or if we've reviewed them at the workshop, then it's under the 2022 board. So those ones have been reviewed. There's quite a few that haven't been reviewed. And only a few that haven't been entered, possibly 3. The rest of them have been submitted.
It's not to try to slog through everything. There's some definite things we need to discuss, so.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll send an email and we'll get that done up. This time I will for sure make sure I get the email on that.
Sorry.
Oh, no problem. On new business, claims,
Me already?
you already.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve the pre-authorized claims and open claims presented for payment between November 17th, 2021 and November 30th, 2021 for check numbers 146048 to 146134. Need check numbers 1727 to 1735 for a grand total of $255,188.80.
Forward. By Briggs. Any comments, concerns, issues? All right, roll call, please.
Brumman,
Yes,
Thompson,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes,
Small,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
motion carries. Next item, if you would be so kind, Stephanie, and give us a quick brief on the resolution 2021-11 to adopt annual exemption option as set forth in Public Act 152, the Publicly Funded Health Insurance Contribution Act.
The insurance company requires that, copy of the minutes and that resolution. And this is something that you guys do annually. And I believe it's, I can't even find it right now. It's option number 3 that's within the resolution.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to adopt resolution number 2021-11 and utilizing item 3.
Moved and supported. Any further comment? Hearing none, let's roll call this.
Small,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes,
Thompson,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Next item, Michigan Institute of Forensic Science and Medicine. The communication to our entity that we contract our medical examiner services, that the current CEO and chief medical examiner are no longer step down. That's good. Well, I'll just read it. Medical examiner officer for Alcona County covered by the Michigan Institute of Forensic Science and Medicine is ready to forming our recent change in leadership. Both Dr. David Stockman and Dr. Russell Bush have stepped down as chief executive officers and chief medical examiner respectively. In order to facilitate the transition to a death and investigation service geared towards higher quality metrics. This will be available in a minute if you want to read the rest of this paragraph. Anyway, we have to appoint 2 new people at position, and they're recommending positions are being filled by Dr. Roshan Mahavir and Dr. Randy Pashian.
That one was acceptable.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept their positions.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion?
I think the only thing you notice in there too, that Randy, I think it's. I spelled his last name, but Randy was here last year with Dr. Bush, and he's been promoted to chief operating officer, so.
The motion want to include the additional, the Randy,
No, we only have.
We don't have to.
we have to do that.
I was just making a note of everybody looking at it.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thanks, Stephanie. We'll have to have that copy of the minutes.
Finance report. We're
For this,
On
yeah,
Now, on 11/20, you got this, the registered deeds to make a bottom line adjustment. So that
Yes.
has to be in the minute, so we can get that done for 2021.
we taking that right now.
yeah. I don't have that.
Didn't want you to forget that.
I appreciate it. Oh, that's right. You know what? I even printed it out. It's right here. Regardless. So part of the finance report includes, make a motion to amend the 256 Register of Deeds Automation Fund to increase revenue line 256,000,620,004 by 4,300 to a total of 24,005. Increase line item 256,681,90,000 for data processing by 4,300 to a total of 16,500.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Gothier,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes,
Brady,
Yes.
Brumman.
Yes.
I uploaded the budget to the state and to our dashboard yesterday, and that's all set. And we can take care of general funds in December, or non-generals in December. And that's focus finance right now. Moving on, personnel report.
we reported the last time about the extension.
Nothing for personnel. Okay, help with the treasurer's report.
I mentioned last week, we were in the process of closing out the issue that we had with the one property. We have that property back in Alcona County. And it will be going, deeding that to the purchasers. I'm still waiting on a few things that we have in problem deeds that I haven't received a list from. I know we had a meeting and there was supposed to be a follow-up for that, but I haven't received that, and I'd like to have that done possibly before the end of the year, if possible. There's some issues with the deed on this particular property, and I have not heard what direction that's going in, if someone could possibly follow up with that. Other than that, we are, there's lots of dogs in Alcona County that are being licensed, and we've been taking tax payments a little bit slower than normal. Usually happens around this time. Postings were contracted out this year. In the past 2 years, I've done it myself, and this year hasn't allowed the time to do that, so I have contracted that out. I'm still waiting for the F-65 report from the auditor, and we have some things that need to be done with that. Other than that, we've been working diligently on trying to resolve some budget issues, and we'll continue to do that. We're focusing on 2021. For the rest of the year, we'll be asking all the departments for their anticipated revenues for the end of the year, and working with the clerk's office for the anticipated expenditures. So we can get a accurate accounting for accounts payable and accounts receivable for the end of the year for 2021. And that's all I have. Is there any questions anyone has any?
I'll write an email to department heads. With their stated 2021 expenditures and revenues. Okay, good.
Are you gonna filter that? Is that going directly to you to finance? Because normally we ask that it go, the revenues come to us so we can get the accountability, but if that's.
No, I'll say,
That's a better process. I will take it through you.
no, it's not a better process. I just saw it. If I also sent that an email. And they still come, where, however you prefer to handle it. If I'm on it, that people did more, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but
Whatever.
put
you
more
feel
authority
is most
behind
appropriate.
what it is, but okay.
We just need to know how,
Where they're
if
at.
you send a bill out, then we need to know about it, if we don't
Yeah.
already have it. If you are filling out reports for year end for the grants, which for the majority of the grants we have, they're state of Michigan, so you're gonna be you're gonna be filling out your first or second quarter for your grants. So we're gonna need to have those, so we know what we're gonna be anticipating coming in 2022. Those are the receivables that I'm speaking of. And we will be asking to meet with the departments in regards to what they have left coming in and what's being billed out. There's a lot of rent payments that have not been, I don't know if they've been billed out yet. I don't know who bills them out. Is that you? For rent for the county,
To the building department, I think.
different,
There's-
yeah, the
there's a
different
couple of
departments
them.
and.
I thought we talked about that.
And then the
Yeah, I thought
indirect
that was
services,
done.
I know we have those, we have
Yeah.
the first bills on those, but we do need some of the other ones.
Okay.
And just kind of see where we all are. And how much more revenues we can bring in before the end of the year and what we're anticipating receiving in 22. Because I would like to have a better handle on that this year than we did last year with all the craziness that happened.
I agree. Okay. Thanks, Cheryl. Clerk's report.
I see there's a contract for services that was laying here.
That's for the commit, I was gonna bring it in comments, but that's what I do right now. It's for that's for Troy for us to review, put on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay, and is that correct? The year I see says 2022 to 2023, so. So he was good with last year, so it was 2020 and 21 that he was covered for. It wasn't 1 year, it's 2-year contract.
These are questions that we can ask him. We're not voting on it today, but if we need
Okay.
clarifications, that's
But
what
he
he provided.
presented this,
He gave it to Terry.
then he would know, okay. Also from the sheriff's department, upon the retirement of Debbie and Officer Clint, who's no longer here, the bank is gonna require a motion by you guys, a roll call vote for, as part of the minutes, to remove them from the credit card. And Sheila Gothier will be assuming those duties, so they need to have, put her on and take the 2 off, so
When do we need to do that?
Right now.
that would be great.
So
So I'll like make a motion that we remove Robert Klink and Debbie
So,
Kilborn from our credit card and add Sheila Gothier.
yes.
do we need effective dates on there?
As soon as the credit card company can do it.
Oh, it doesn't take them long to get your credit card.
No, but it's any of these people still need to use it through the end of the year, while they're still working with us, is what I'm trying to grab at here.
You can make that part of the minute, a part of the motion and include it in the minute.
I don't know how- I
They'll
don't-
remove
Does it need to be
Only
effective
days
January
before.
1st is what he's saying, or can we just do it immediately?
Clint's effective immediately.
Yeah,
Right.
right. Debbie's,
Debbie's expected through the end of the year.
yeah, Debbie's
Yep.
through January. Remove Klink immediately and Debbie to be removed by January 1st.
And add Sheila.
And add
January
Sheila
1st,
Gothier.
2020.
You could add Sheila probably now, in case.
Well, I think we do January first, because she's not in that position yet, and it's gonna complicate things. I don't,
Well, she's in training.
auditors don't I mean, yeah.
Okay.
You get all that?
Yeah,
I got it.
Okay.
All right.
Move
Was
to
it-
supported.
Who was the second?
No, it was this is roll call, yeah, probably. Roll call, please.
Small,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Gothier,
yes.
Brumman,
Yes,
Brady.
Yes. Anything else, Stephanie?
I think that was it. Oh, and I discussed that opioid litigation. Me and Carolyn, I'll get with Carolyn on that to see if that's the draft resolution that we're supposed to adopt, or because they're requiring that, kind of like the health insurance requires the PA 152 resolution. So we'll find out if that's the good one that we're supposed to use.
Okay.
The chair has to sign it.
And then, yes, and it looks like, I think I saw January 22nd. I thought I saw it, that we have to respond by, so we can make it part of the next meeting.
Okay.
January 2nd.
Okay. Then, next item on the list is closed session.
Oh, that was my error. I didn't even see that on the agenda.
All
It was
right.
on their
I
stuff.
was wondering who put that in there last second.
That was my fault.
Don't we have some issues on wages and stuff that we should talk about?
I'm aware.
Well, part of the workshop. It's not general. I know what you're saying, but I mean, it's all public, whatever, so.
No, there's still employee sensitive conversations.
Yeah. Well,
The union one, the only one that we would be bringing up in closed session would be the union one, and that's on a hold right now at the moment.
okay, then we don't need to have that. Excellent. And communications, your packet. Review at your leisure. Moving on to committee reports. Simon Terry.
I got nothing. Other, I'm sorry, we had Department of Health. Dan. They're still plugging along with all the information. Oh, no.
Okay. How are you, Dan?
Yeah, from NEMCOG, I'm gonna pass this off to everybody for their information to act on hopefully next week. I got a call from Diane from NEMCOG, and they're asking us for if we would participate in Eagles put out back together on materials management county and engagement grants. And it's a nine county application, and if all counties get into it, they all can work together on it. And it's up to like 10 or 12,000. There's no obligation for Alcona, but what it does is it allows us, if we got in there and the grant was approved, we don't really have solid waste in Alcona County as far as management goes. But if we don't get into that, we could collaborate with Osceola County, Alpena County, using the money to do that. So I think it's a good thing. We need to act on it with a resolution at the next meeting, but you guys can read this and come up with a better idea.
You put that in a minute for next meeting, please.
Could we go back for a moment? I don't even, who goes to our mental health meetings? I feel rather strongly and have for some years. I do not want, I sent a letter to our representatives, a personal letter that would not privatize mental health activities. And I think I would love to see us do a resolution that we would send not to the whole world, but to appropriate people. I just,
I
I
think
don't,
we did that. On the mental health.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember a resolution.
It had to do when the Department of Health was here. And she gave her
Give me your presentation.
presentation, and then we voted on that after that. I don't remember, I thought it was a motion to support or not to support the bills that were going through.
Right,
But we didn't do a
Congress at
resolution.
that time.
I just, that would not be good for people in our county. Or the surrounding county.
I just said, maybe have to buy it down, or-
That was fun.
A binder.
I'll draw it in the mind.
I thought it was-
Thanks, Steph.
You're welcome.
Okay, anything, no?
Well, I don't wanna, I'm not just saying that we shouldn't be, and we have said we're in support of it. My personal feeling, it's not going to.
Oh, I think you're right.
That's my personal feelings, that's my opinion.
But we saw them totally derail the substance abuse. They did get that one through, and it was detrimental to all of the providers.
The information I got when I was in Traverse City at their conference, and I listened to their lobbyist talk. And my opinion coming out from what he presented is that this will not go through. This is my opinion.
Okay, for me, soil district, I wanna, do you have some time to talk to me after the meeting today?
You bet.
Because I want to talk to you about the worm, the caterpillar.
Yep.
There's some neighboring counties that are doing millages for that.
Yep.
And if I could, get your input on that, and maybe we could start looking at something to draft up.
Sure.
Okay, so
Glad to.
when, if you're some, yeah, great. So what you got?
Not too much this time with the budget and, no, I don't have anything.
Carolyn,
Maine was beautiful.
good. You missed the leaves.
Oh, no, they're in my yard.
That's really important. So on to public comment, 5 minutes per person. Identify yourself and your township. All right, hearing none and nobody's speaking up. Oh,
I'll do one. December, Lenny Avery, ACCOA, December 15th, there'll be a mobile pantry at the senior center. Not at the ARA site. It'll be at the senior center this time. And that is open to all Alcona County residents. Also, we are doing holiday boxes. If anybody would like to support, $25 donation feeds a family of 6. So you can go to our website to donate or come to the senior center and drop a check off. So we for Thanksgiving, we gave away over 115 boxes. So local families here in Alcona County. So you do the math, that fed quite a bit of people.
How much is one dinner?
One box is $25. And that gives enough for the fixins. I mean, you're not gonna get a turkey, but it does give you something to eat for Christmas dinner. So you'll get like stuffing, thing of cranberries, mashed potatoes, pretty good.
okay, thank you. Anybody else?
I actually have something. I
Okay.
was gonna see if you guys could write a resolution on the House Bill 4667. That's for the COVID passports, because I think that it just went to the committee of the whole on 10/26, but it's still sitting there. So if you guys could write a resolution to, I think, support that bill. So we don't have to have COVID passports come to our communities where we have to like show proof of vaccination just to go shop and stuff. That would be great. And also like this mayor in LA or California somewhere, they did like where they're a sanctuary city for the Constitution, like a constitutional sanctuary city. That's pretty interesting. So like last time we were talking about like Reedy said, what do you want me to do? Stand on the top of the hill and shout this stuff out? And we were like, no, we just want you to do something. So like resolutions in support of some of these House bills would be great. Or like this constitutional sanctuary city, that would be great. Or, pushing forward for a forensic audit, because I understand there still were like 400 or something, a little less than 500 votes off in our county. So something in that, you know, like write a resolution, especially for the COVID passport. Thanks.
Did you get a name?
No,
Duncan?
your
Oh,
name,
Jerry Flannery. What? Oh, there's no township.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I agree
Okay,
with
oh,
that.
go ahead.
Rosie Karen, Dustin Township, I agree with that, the resolution on the passport thing, definitely no.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Nobody on the internet? All right, hearing none. Commissioner, additional comments? Anybody have any?
Just want to thank Lenny for coming and answering the questions that were presented.
Agreed.
Anybody else?
Commissioner, but when will you find out about your workshop? And by the end of the week?
Well, I want to get it hammered out today if I can. I can go around and make a poll or whatever. All right, that being said, meeting adjourned until next regular meeting, December 15th at 1:30 p.m. Thank you everybody for coming.